New York City Democratic mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani got a big show of support from Senator Bernie Sanders at a Brooklyn town hall last night. Both progressives addressed the growing outside calls for someone in the mayoral race to drop out to increase the odds of a Mamdani defeat. So far, no one is budging, with Election Day less than 2 months away. CB Cotton is live in New York with more on this story. CB, what do you have?
Hey, Brian. Yeah, the high-stakes four-way race for New York City mayor is fueling lots of drama, as you know. But with all this growing pressure from outside voices for a candidate to step aside and block a Zohran Mamdani victory. But today, New York Governor Kathy Hochul said on Fox News Sunday, it needs to stop.
It is up to the voters, and there should not be outside influences on this decision from the White House on down. Let the voters of New York decide.
Her remarks come as Mamdani stood shoulder to shoulder with Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders at that Brooklyn Town Hall event last night. The crowd erupted as Sanders praised Mamdani's campaign and said, quote, "What are these people, these oligarchs, afraid of?" while referencing those outside calls that are aiming to narrow the mayoral field to a two-way race between Mamdani and former Governor Andrew Cuomo. This week, Mamdani's other competitors, Republican nominee Curtis Sliwa and incumbent New York City Mayor Eric Adams, running as an independent, well, both of them threw cold water on any possibility of them dropping out, even as reports swirled that both men had been approached about abandoning their campaigns to take federal jobs. The chance of a Mamdani victory has caused panic from some Big Apple business leaders who say Mamdani's campaign promises of rent freezes, public grocery stores, and free public transit could destabilize markets and lead to a capital exodus. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis appearing to use a bit of humor, predicting people will retreat to his state, writing on X, quote, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Palm Beach Realtor of the Year." His caption over a photo he reshared of Mamdani with Senator Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez that was taken this weekend. President Donald Trump suggested earlier this week Mamdani will likely win if no one drops out.
I would say that Cuomo might have a chance of winning if it was a one-on-one. If it's not one-on-one, it's going to be a hard race. And we'll get used to a communist, and he's going to have to go through the White House and get approvals for everything.
Remarks like that from the president are appearing to motivate progressives like Senator Sanders to encourage the entire Democratic Party to back Mamdani. Last night, Sanders slammed New York Democratic heavyweights for staying on the sidelines. Governor Kathy Hochul is among those who have yet to give Mamdani their full backing. Brian.
Okay, CB Cotton live in New York here. CB, thank you.
It took nearly 3 months, but the top Democrat in New York State has finally endorsed New York City Democratic mayoral nominee Zohran Mamdani. New York City deserves a mayor who will stand up to Donald Trump and make life more affordable for New Yorkers. That's at Zohran K.M. Mamdani, New York Governor Kathy Hochul said Sunday evening in a social media post. The governor's endorsement is significant, as it may help Mamdani secure the backing of other key members of the party's establishment, and it will likely put more pressure on 2 other top Democrats in New York State who are still withholding their backing of Mamdani, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, the top 2 Democratic Party leaders in Congress. Mamdani, in a statement, said he was grateful to the governor for her support in unifying our party, as well as the work she's done standing up to President Trump, securing free lunch meals for our kids, and expanding access to childcare. Hochul announced her support for Mamdani, the 33-year-old Democratic Socialist state lawmaker from Queens, who shocked the political world in June with his convincing win over former Governor Andrew Cuomo and 9 other candidates to capture the Democratic Party's mayoral nomination in the New York Times. "In the past few months, I've had frank conversations with him. We've had our disagreements," the governor wrote. "But in our conversations, I heard a leader who shares my commitment to a New York where children can grow up safe in their neighborhoods and where opportunity is within reach for every family. I heard a leader who is focused on making New York City affordable, a goal I enthusiastically support. The Ugandan-born Mamdani, if elected, would become the first Muslim and first millennial mayor of the nation's most populous city. He is the clear frontrunner in the latest public opinion polls in the mayoral race in the Democrat-dominated city. Mamdani is sitting on 22-point margin leads over Cuomo and the rest of the field in surveys released last week from Quinnipiac University, and New York Times Tabor Siena College. And a survey from Emerson University and The Hill also indicates Mamdani comfortably ahead by double digits. Guardian Angels co-founder Curtis Sliwa, who for a second straight election is the Republican mayoral nominee in the Democrat-dominated city, was a distant third in the polls, with embattled incumbent Mayor Eric Adams, who is running as an independent after deciding to skip the Democratic primary amid anemic polling, further down in fourth place. Both Sliwa and Adams have repeatedly committed to staying in the race in recent weeks, amid multiple reports that Trump's advisors floated administration roles for both mayoral hopefuls if they dropped out. On Sunday, following a new report that Adams would drop out in the coming days, the mayor's spokesman fired back. "Let me be perfectly clear. Any rumor or tweet suggesting Mayor Adams is stepping down this week is complete bulls," spokesman Todd Shapiro wrote in a statement. "These lies are being spread by desperate opponents who can't match the mayor's record, his campaign energy, or his support across this city." Mamdani surged to the Democratic primary victory thanks to an energetic campaign that put a major focus on affordability and New York City's high cost of living. It was fueled by a grassroots army of supporters and backing from top national progressive champions, including Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York and Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont. Mamdani made smart use of social media platforms, including TikTok, as he engaged low-propensity voters. He proposed eliminating fares to ride New York City's vast bus system, making City University of New York tuition-free, freezing rents on municipal housing, offering free childcare for children up to age 5, and setting up government-run grocery stores. Mamdani has been heavily criticized by his rivals for his past critical comments of the New York City Police Department, NYPD, and his proposal to shift certain responsibilities away from the NYPD and focus on social services and community-based program. Hochul recently said an apology from Mamdani was in order, and the mayoral hopeful told the New York Times a couple of days ago that he intended to apologize. Hochul said that in her conversations with Mamdani, she made it very clear that our police officers should have every resource to keep our streets and subways safe. I urged him to ensure that there is strong leadership at the helm of the NYPD, and he agreed. The governor also addressed Mamdani's past critical comments about Israel. "We discussed the need to combat the rise of anti-Semitism urgently and unequivocally. I've been glad to see him meet with Jewish leaders across the city, listening and addressing their concerns directly," Hochul said.
Mr. President, see these buildings? A lot of them in New York City you built.
I do.
That's called capitalism, not socialism. We have Mamdani, who is ahead in the polls here. What's your reaction?
It's amazing.
It's up by 20.
I call him my little communist. He's my little communist mayor. But, you know, he has to come to Washington for money, a lot of money. And it's amazing. I was so surprised by this. Even the other two candidates, I mean, you know, you look at the candidates. Now, maybe one-on-one somebody could beat him, and I'm not looking at the polls too carefully, but it would look like he's going to win. And that's a rebellion. It's also a rebellion against bad candidates, okay? It's a rebellion. They're tired of it. You know, they're seeing things happening. We have taxes being put on us in New York by Democrats that are so bad that even the Democrats are revolting. It's not possible for a Democrat to lose. Right. I did, you know, in the presidential election, I did great in New York. I did great, you know, considering it's New York.
Considering it's New York.
I mean, I did great. But there's a lot of question on the voters, you know, on the booths and everything else on the votes. But we should never be in a position where we're talking about a communist. Now, a communist running
doesn't like capitalism.
Running what could be, because it's, you know, so badly run, but what could be. I'll tell you, if I were mayor of New York, it would be the greatest city in the world so fast.
Are you going to get more involved?
Because we have such great cops. You know, I looked at the police, New York's finest last night. They all wanted my picture, autographs. They beat the hell out of my hand. My hand is like a wounded warrior. They shake, and they're strong as hell, the police. Some of these guys that...
Oh, yeah.
They're taking, you know, it's based on merit again. So now they're very strong. When they shake your hand, and some of them are crying. Because they never cried. When they were born, they didn't cry, but now they're crying. Because they love our country. They love me, and you know, they know it's law and order and stuff. That they want common sense. Sir, may I shake your hand? May I please shake your hand? And they're crying, and they're shaking my hand. I'm saying,
but here's why that really matters, to Ainsley's question, is because he's not pro-police. Mm-hmm. He's pro-social worker, to sending them out there. And if those cops aren't back, they're not going to do their job. So you got Cuomo, Sliwa, and Adams. Are you calling for those three to drop out?
Well, I think they have to have one candidate.
One say.
And it would look to me like Cuomo, frankly, is leading the other two. And look, I'm a Republican, but Curtis is not exactly primetime, you know. He wants cats to be in Gracie Mansion. He wants to open it up as a kid. That's the home, for those that don't know.
He's a good crime fighter.
The magnificent home of the mayor. It's beautiful. Gracie Mansion, to me, is like a fabled place. If you're in New York, no, we don't need to have thousands of cats.
He didn't want cats to eat the rats.
It looks like, look, Cuomo, you know, you have a weather person here who I happen to think is
Janice
wonderful. And I just told Janice, I said, you know, you are responsible because of her level of passion about what happened with her parents-in-law was so incredible against Cuomo that really brought them down. Janice, I hope you're watching because I'm saying it with respect, but that brought Cuomo down. Her level of passion, you know, what he did with the nursing homes, it was so horrible. Yeah, but nobody had the impact that Janice Dean had. I used to watch, and she'd be doing the weather, and then she'd start talking about him. And she was very emotional about it. She definitely loved them. You know, their parents-in-law, as I understand it, but she definitely loved them. And that was brutal for Cuomo. He seems to be leading by a little bit, but he's still way behind. It almost looks like even one candidate
wouldn't work.
At this point is not going to.
Hochul's endorsement may not only benefit Mamdani, but could also help the governor shore up support from the Democrats' progressive base as she seeks re-election next year. Mamdani praised Hochul for her focus on tackling affordability. I look forward to fighting alongside her to continue her track record of putting money back in New Yorkers' pockets and building a safer and stronger New York City where no one is forced to leave just so they can afford to raise a family, he said. But Republican Representative Elise Stefanik of New York, a top Trump ally who is expected later this year to launch a 2026 run for governor, took aim at Hochul. At the exact moment when New Yorkers are looking for strong leadership from their governor with a majority opposing Zohran Mamdani, Kathy Hochul embraces this raging communist who will destroy New York, making it less affordable and more dangerous. Once again, putting criminals and communists first, and New Yorkers last, Stefanik argued in a statement.